We just got the very first Scream 7 trailer, poster, plot description, and a whole bunch more that we're gonna break down in today's video. This trailer is glorious. It has answered all of my questions, things that I've really wanted to know about this new flick, things I was concerned about. All of these things have evaporated from my body. Let's talk a little bit about why. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're excited for Scream 7 just like me, then make sure to like this video and subscribe for more horror updates just like this one. Also, the best way to support this page is by becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter, where you'll get an extra review video each week. Members can even see my new short film, Brahmin Synthetic, right now, ahead of its release on Halloween. Thank you to all of my supporters. Now let's get into this. We got an official plot synopsis for Scream 7 today. Let's read that and break it down. When a new Ghostface killer emerges in the quiet town where Sidney Prescott, Neve Campbell, has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter, Isabel May, becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. So it sounds like they're setting the stage for this movie to be the final chapter, so to say. Obviously there's gonna be more after this, but maybe this is the sunset of the Sidney Prescott story. She's been fighting demons from her past for a very long time now. Also, on top of that, she has a family, a daughter now. This typically sees the end of a character arc in most franchises. I could see this being the last Sidney movie, and that's perfectly okay in my opinion. Whether we like it or not, franchises are going to outlive some of our favorite characters. That's just how these things go. Look at the Conjuring franchise right now. Even though director Michael Chavez has said that, oh, the Conjuring last rites, that's the last one, there's not gonna be any more movies. There's currently a Conjuring prequel film in the works. Why? Because Conjuring 4 made a butt ton of money. Scream 7 will be no different. This movie's gonna make a ton of money as long as people think that Stu is coming back. Getting into this trailer breakdown, let's talk a little bit about this opening scene. A couple stays at a murderous Airbnb at 261 Turner Lane. That's of course Stu's house that served as the third act setting of both the original Scream and Scream 2022. The place is all dressed up to celebrate the Stab movie franchise as well as the true crime events that inspired the in-universe movie series. I think that's gonna be a major theme of this one, kind of commenting on how we celebrate true crime in the same way that we do horror movies. And these are things that should be very, very different and separate from each other. Unfortunately, they're not. Look at how Ryan Murphy has Hollywoodified all of these serial killers that really killed people in real life. It led to people dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer when season 1 came out for Halloween. That's messed up. We shouldn't celebrate Jeffrey Dahmer in the same way that we celebrate someone like Michael Myers, who is fictional and has never really killed anybody. I think Scream 7 clearly has some of that meta commentary laced into it here based on what we're seeing in the trailer. Something else I noticed is that on the ground are body prints of Billy Loomis, Amber Freeman, and Richie Kirsch, but interestingly enough, we never see the living room floor where Stu died, so to say. More on Mr. Mocker a little later on. The couple finds an animatronic Ghostface in one of the other rooms while the real Ghostface creeps up behind him. After what I think will be a big chase sequence, Michelle Randolph's character swings from the chandelier like she's freaking Sia, falls down as Ghostface rolls over and points the knife straight up. Listen, if you're gonna do knife kills, you gotta find creative ways to do them at this point. This is Scream 7, and clearly they're figuring that out. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I had goosebumps all over my body at the end of that whole little sequence of the trailer. That was so cool, man. Throughout the trailer, we get a few other sequences at Stu's house. I think that Jimmy Tatro's character, who is the dude in this little relationship that we see at the beginning here, I think he dies in the attic because there's a few sequences where it looks like maybe we're in Sidney's house's attic, but you can see some Woodsboro stuff in the background. Michelle Randolph seemingly dies in the foyer. Jimmy Tatro makes it all the way up to the attic. It kind of goes back to that really funny Sidney line from the original Scream, where she's making fun of characters who run up the stairs instead of going out the front door. Ghostface then seemingly burns the place to the ground, once again putting some sort of emphasis on this location. There is some sort of connection to the past. We're back in Woodsboro for whatever reason. Obviously, it has something to do with Stu, because once we get our little reintroduction to Sidney Prescott, who is living a great new life, at least for now, in Pine Grove, Indiana, she gets a call from Ghostface saying that he or she has found where Sidney Prescott is living, in a town that looks just like the place where we grew up. It is also interesting to note that not only do we see that the killer is calling from Woodsboro, California, again, probably part of whoever they are's motive, and we also see Isabel May's character hanging out with some of her friends, McKenna Grace and Celeste O'Connor. In this sequence as well, we get a lot of rumors confirmed. Sidney Prescott is in fact running her own coffee shop, the Little Latte. We love to see a businesswoman thrive, baby. We also get to see our first shots of Mark Evans, played by Joel McHale, who seemingly dies later on in the trailer. I have never been so happy to see a character potentially die on screen. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. A big criticism I have had about Scream 7 is I just do not care for this casting. I love Joel McHale, hilarious actor, great comedian, but he's known for his asshole characters that he loves to play. Just not the kind of character I would see ending up with Sidney Prescott. Hopefully this character dies like halfway through the movie and we don't have to get too much conversation between husband and wife here, chemistry that I just don't think is gonna work and maybe even fall flat. This Ghostface clearly wants to get revenge on Sidney Prescott for something that happened in the past. So with this being such a vengeful Ghostface, I think they're gonna score a really nasty kill on somebody very close to Sidney Prescott, like literally her partner. Nothing sends a message more than making somebody a freaking widow. Yikes. Another thing that I was worried about regarding Scream 7 is that they would have Ghostface chasing around Sidney Prescott the entire time, and I just don't think that would work. I'm paraphrasing here, but Kevin Williamson, the director of this film, who's also the writer of the original and some of the sequels, recently came out and said there's no way we will kill Sidney Prescott. So this movie's gonna have a happy ending, we know that. But the big thing about this movie that they have to do in order to still be able to build tension is they can't just be chasing Sidney Prescott around the entire time. It has to be her beloved family members. They are very clearly doing that from some of the sequences we got in today's trailer. I am a very, very, very happy fan right now. Isabel May's character's getting chased around, Joel McHale's dead. I mean, all these things that I've been wanting so badly from this film, they're doing it. They understand the assignment, baby. Sidney Prescott seemingly has this like vault in her house, a panic room, if you will, and they're sneaking through the walls. This is crazy. I love this sequence. It's very reminiscent of that Scream 3 sequence where Jennifer Jolie is behind the mirrors or whatever. That's pretty cool. But my favorite little chase scene that we get teased here is Isabel May getting some help from Sidney, who's not there, just watching on the cameras of her coffee shop, essentially. They're separated for whatever reason, and Ghostface is coming after the daughter. Sidney is trying to give some advice to her. This is exactly what I wanted from chase sequences in Scream 7. You can't just do Sidney Prescott getting chased around by Ghostface anymore. That is simply not going to work, knowing that she's going to survive. There's no tension, there's no suspense there. But there is tension and suspense with her daughter getting chased around by Ghostface because she can still die. Just like how Mark Evans is probably already dead, baby. I can't say this enough. I've never been so happy to have a kill spoiled for me. Gil Weathers is also badass here, confirming that rumor that she would be the one to bring Chad and Mindy into the equation here from New York City. That's why they're in middle of nowhere, Indiana. We also get to see Chad and Mindy fighting Ghostface at one point too. Will they both survive? Well, we know that Chad will. He can take like 6,000 stabs to the chest and still be fine. Hopefully Ghostface doesn't get 6,001, however. Maybe Chad's not the one getting stabbed though. He's looking real sad here, like maybe his sister just died. So I've been glazing the hell out of this trailer, but I do have a few cons with this one. We get a little sequence here where Isabel May is saying to her mother, hey, I want to be a fighter just like you. And once again, I feel like we are getting that passing of the torch scenario, which we kind of just got in Scream 2022 with the character of Sam Carpenter. That feels just a little repetitive considering we just got that just a few years ago here. That's something that I just think was inevitable with introducing the character of Sidney's daughter. I mean, come on now. Also, and maybe the biggest takeaway from this entire trailer is right at the end here, you can clearly hear Matthew Lillard's voice repeating a line, well, kind of variation of a line, I should say, from the original Scream.
This is gonna be fun.
So here's my thing with this trailer. I know I'm gonna have a million comments down below saying Stu Macher's back, he's alive, it's very obvious from the trailer. Don't you think that's a little suspicious? Like, isn't it a little suspicious with how many nods there are towards Stu Macher in particular with this trailer? Ghostface specifically says where we grew up, so this is something tying back to the original. It has something to do with Stu, let's be honest. We're burning down Stu's house at the beginning of this whole thing. We don't see Stu's body on the ground in the living room like we do all the other killers that died in this place. That's very clearly a variation of one of Stu's most hilarious lines right at the end as well. The marketing for Scream 7 is going to point towards Stu the entire time because they know the fan base is going to think he's back. I am 100% sure, not 98%, not 99% sure, I'm 100% sure the killer in this movie is going to be Stu Macher's sister. We were talking earlier about how there's this theme of true crime being glorified in the media, being treated the same way as a slasher movie. Stu Macher's sister, Leslie Macher, her motive here is she's not happy with the way her brother was portrayed in the movies. She's also not not happy that Sidney Prescott, the person that killed him, is still alive, happy, and has a family, when maybe she doesn't, or has a broken family. The events from 96 have ruined her life, and also the glorification of this true crime story. Nobody cares about Stu's sister, everybody cares about the survivor, the victim, Sidney Prescott, and she is upset about that. She never got that attention from the media. She's a character that was only ever created in Scream 5. It's meta, it's relevant to something going on in the entertainment industry right now. It's very Scream. And also, it's a family member that we didn't know about until very recently, which is very Scream as well. I don't care for that angle, but I think if they focus more heavily on the fact that, hey, this is a movie that is much more about the glorification of true crime and how that's wrong, that can be a really nice talking point that Scream 7 can dive into, something that the very best Scream movies do. The original Scream movie, for instance, was put on the map because of the meta horror commentary on the dying state of slashers. Scream 4 was all about internet fame and how easy it was to obtain in really awful ways too. Scream 5 had some requel commentary and also some commentary on toxic fandom. This movie is moving into some more relevant topics of the time as well. I think Scream 7's gonna rock if it takes it down that angle. I may not love the whole family thing. I've been very vocal about that in the past. I don't think this needs to be Stu's sister, but if that's the route you're gonna take it, it's gonna be some family member we just created out of thin air. This is a really nice way to do it. I'm loving the darker tone of this one. It looks very bloody despite what Neve Campbell has said about the flick. And overall, I'm just a very happy fan right now. I'll eat my vegetables with the whole family thing and the, kind of doing the passing of the torch story again if it means we get some fresh ideas implemented into a new Scream sequel. And also an actual murder mystery, which if Stu is alive, that's not a murder mystery. We already know that Stu is a killer going all the way back to the original flick. I have a lot of faith in this movie, and I don't think they're gonna do franchise ruining things here. We will of course be covering Scream 7 up until its release on February 27th of next year. Stick around. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.